Say it again. Some will say too far. Half awake, fading the heart. Behind this, you don't care at all. I call it fate. Half just fading fast. Chasing dreams that never last. Behind this, you are more than that. All that we got left is solid ground. All we knew is left and lost and found. Nothing left to do but time to move on. I know there's much at stake. A memory for all time's sake. But behind this, there is no place safe. I call it fate. A half chance fading fast. Chasing dreams that never last. Behind this, you are more than that.
Welcome to 80.
Or 80,000.
I'm your host, Moses Newsom.
And I'm your host, Big Stefano Lewis in the building.
Are you living for 80 years, or do you want to take your legacy and your impact well beyond 80,000 years?
Let's find out.
Today, we're honored to sit with the Chief of Police of the city of Newport News.
Yes, we are.
With over 30 years in law enforcement experience, including 2 decades at the Richmond Police Department.
Woo!
He's built a career of values, transparency, fairness, and community
Talk
trust.
about it.
Since taking over the Newport News, the police department in 2018.
Keep going.
He's led with a hands-on approach.
Keep going.
Whether attending community events.
Keep going.
Hosting Facebook Live sessions.
Keep going.
Or walking alongside his officers at crime scenes.
Jesus.
His vision for policing goes well beyond enforcement.
That's
it's
love.
about building relationships.
Yes.
It's about investing in youth.
Talk about
It's about finding innovative solutions to challenges like mental health response and community safety.
Woo!
As a result, the results speak for themselves.
Yes, they do.
According to mid-year statistics, in August 2025, Newport News saw a 13% drop in overall crime.
Hand clap.
In the summer months compared to the year before.
Hand clap.
Homicides dropped to over 50% in 2023 to 2024.
Yes, they did.
Non-fatal shootings continue to trend downward year over year.
Stop the violence.
The national mid-year average in 2025 report highlighted carjackings in Virginia cities such as Newport News declined 24% just in the first half of the year.
My God.
These numbers reflect not only the dedication of his officers,
Really?
but the effectiveness of his community-first philosophy.
Yes.
He's introduced new training initiatives,
Right.
spanning cultural representation within the department,
Woo.
and launched programs like CARE,
Yes.
preparing paramedics,
Yes.
mental health professionals to better serve our community.
Woo.
Grounded in faith and the belief that's all about how you treat people.
Woo.
He continues to be a driving force for positive change in Hampton Roads.
Yes, he does.
Let's give a warm welcome for none other than the great Chief Steve Drew.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Well, I've never had an introduction like that. It's usually a handshake, Chief, sitting here. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a little humbled with all that.
Absolutely. Well, glad to have you on the show, Chief. Glad to have you here.
Chief Drew is in the building, y'all, and
Yes,
we are
he
so
is.
honored. We are so thankful to have you here sitting in the chair, and welcome to 80,000.
Oh, thank you. I know we've
Welcome,
talked
welcome.
a while, and I was very humbled when I got the phone call and asked to come and do this. So I don't take it lightly, but I definitely appreciate the opportunity. You guys are great.
Wow. So we're gonna do a little icebreaker real quick.
Yes,
man.
let's
We're
get
just
into
gonna-
it. Let's
we
get
just-
into
We're
it.
just gonna kind of like let everything down, you know what I'm saying, so we can just talk and
I like that.
relax and, you know what I'm saying, just enjoy each other's company and just have a conversation, okay?
great.
So here's the icebreaker right here. Many times when I was growing up, the big thing about officers was, you know, the saving the cat out of the tree. As we know, most officers, fire department, people like that have, have evolved and been in the community. So, icebreaker question for you is, what do you say when a young person comes to you and asks, what do you do for a living?
Wow, that's a great question. I will tell you, I usually use the cat in the tree when I'm teasing firemen or having interaction with them.
Right,
But, so when they ask me like, what do I do? I say, I've been down. I want to make sure I'm on their level, right? Look them right in the eye,
right.
And I'll shake their hand. And sometimes they'll kind of be a little shy, or they'll fist bump, or we'll have a handshake. But usually, what I say to them is, I get to meet and work with people every single day and help them through whatever situations they may need help with.
Wow.
And to see the eyes a little bit, and we just have those conversations. But you're right. I mean, to stoop down and meet them at their level, it's amazing. This job offers all kinds of opportunities. There's no Groundhog Day in this job.
Really?
I can tell you. There's never
Every day's different, right?
Every day is different. But it's when you talk about, I was like, man, you're talking about my age now. How long have I been doing this? But I'll tell you guys, from the bottom of my heart, the best investment we ever make is in people. And I think that's what's lasting. And to be
Say that again, Chief Drew. The best investment is what?
The best investment. I was asked to speak to this group the other day just about leadership in time of crisis.
Right.
And I started and ended with the best investment that you will ever make. I don't care what profession you do.
Right.
But certainly in this profession, the best investment that you will ever make is the investment in other people.
Wow.
That's what's lasting.
Well, it's beautiful that you say that, Chief, because there's no I in team, right? And when you think about your leadership and what you're doing for the city of Newport News and the heavy responsibility that you have on your shoulders, hearing you say that just warms my heart, because without people, we can't do what we do. You can't do what you do. So beautiful answer to that question. Go ahead, Sabano.
So our first question is, Chief Drew, you spent more than 30 years in law enforcement, including over 2 decades in Richmond before coming to Newport News, Virginia. What originally drew you into policing?
Wow, that's a great question. I've been asked that. So, man, I was thinking, weren't the questions like true and false?
No. These are essay questions. These are essay
exclusive.
Start of school, right? The essay question.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
I grew up just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Really?
My grandfather, not my father. My father was in the military, spent time in Vietnam, and he worked in a paper company. But my grandfather was New Madison, Ohio, very, very small town, population of like 1,000.
Right. Okay.
And he was the police chief there, so you say that, but that's like 2 people.
Right.
Wow.
And he was also the trash collector. He collected the garbage and the trash, removed refuge, right?
Okay.
Wow.
So he did both. And I think I remember seeing that when I was a kid. If you think about Mayberry and
Absolutely.
right?
Don Knotts. Yep.
What I remember, the best part, what I would get to walk with him. And people would be sweeping off there at the store, or they would come out on their front porch, and he would talk to them. And I just remember him patting me on the shoulder and saying, I would look at him like, Grandpa, and he was like, it's all about the way you treat people. Wow. It's all about the way you treat people.
Yeah.
And I think the other side of it, it was just humbling, and I enjoyed that. So that always stuck with me. Now, you said we're just going to have a conversation, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So we may have to edit it later. When I see it, I'm like, oh my. But
No.
growing up in Cincinnati, right, I wanted to be I'm left-handed, and I wanted to play professional baseball for the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
Right.
So I played in college, and about 2 years in, I kind of got this ain't gonna happen. Right, this ain't gonna happen. So I studied in psychology and social services,
Right.
And I just really enjoy people, and you meet different people and their nuances. So that's what led me. I applied. I knew I wanted to go to a good sized department. I didn't want to be in Mayberry, right?
Right.
So I got some calls from Richmond, Virginia.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. John Cohane was the recruiting sergeant.
Shout out, John.
Shout out, John.
Yeah, man. John Cohane, because I know he'll hear it, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was playing baseball, and he would call and like, hey, how's your batting average? We didn't talk about that very long.
Right.
Then he would say, how's your grades? And he was like, hey, when you graduate, we're still on board. We're still on board. He made me feel
Comfortable.
We'll probably talk about that at some point. He made me feel like they wanted me in Richmond, Virginia.
Wow.
And so I talked to our recruiters today. You can't just shoot a phone call or an email. It's a tight profession, man. You have got to reach out to people and tell them, we want you to come here and work in this city with our citizens. So long story short, I joined the Richmond Police Department. I did 25 years there. And I remember driving to work one day, and a former chief called. And he said, Newport News is looking for a police chief.
Wow.
And I said, well,
This is exclusive, y'all.
yeah,
Yes.
this is all classified, right?
Right.
And I said, well, I'm like number 2 in Richmond right now. I'm good. I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And his advice to me, and I'll give it to others who ask me, his advice to me was, take a look at the city, go through the process, and it at least will help develop you whenever you do want to move on, or if you stay here in Richmond.
Right.
So I came down, I came down to Newport News. I about 3 weekends in a row, I drove around. Everybody was very friendly. I saw in that city center area, everybody had dogs, and they were walking around. They would talk to you.
Absolutely.
It was cool. I never really brought it up, but I would run into officers and just talk to them. I never told them who I was. Or,
Really? Oh, so
right?
were you dressed in plain clothes?
Yeah, just plain clothes, right? Just
I love it.
Jeans, a
I
t-shirt.
love it. Yeah, that's
Cincinnati
dope.
Reds t-shirt,
Undercover
right?
boss.
That's right.
Undercover boss.
Yeah. And they just talked about the city, and then we applied. Or I applied, and you started out with multiple applicants, and it got down to 6. And I knew the other individuals that were. And I was like, "There's no way," but at least I'm learning. This is something I'm learning. And then I got a call early, about 7:30 in the morning. I was driving to work.
Wow.
And the city said, we'd like you to come down and meet with the city manager. And I tell this story. We met in City Center. We had a conversation, and they said, okay, well, we'll let you know. And I walked out, and I did not get across the street. And the HR director came out, and right there, if you're ever in the City Center, you drive around that circle. So
We're
right
very
in the middle,
familiar with it.
right in the middle, we made the deal, shook hands, and made the deal right
Wow.
there. And but let's do this. Let's do that. How about this? How about that? And I said, tell you what, let's do this. Let's shake hands, and I'll go home and pack today. And we made the deal right there. And it was
Wow.
just, man. And always, you guys opened up with a prayer. It was very humbling to me. I'm a man of faith, grounded, and the pastors have always told me, when you're trying to make a decision, if you feel good about it, if there's an opportunity, and there's a desire in your heart, then it's blessed by God. And
Absolutely.
And I feel completely blessed working in the city. Sorry for that long answer, but
I love it. I love it.
There is no long answer. There is no right or wrong
that's how
answer. We want to hear it from you. This is your time.
Wow.
This is your seat. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to rewind a little bit because I know when you think about, what you're doing and reflecting on that journey, I want to talk a little bit about your grandfather because he, that is someone that inspired you. That's somebody that you can reflect upon. Tell me a little bit about his influence, because here's what really kind of got me. When you said that he was the chief, but he also did, clean the trash.
That's right, yes.
So he was on both sides of the spectrum. To me, that's very humbling.
absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned from it and how did that inspire and shape who you are now today as chief?
Yeah, so my mom taught 3rd grade for 30 years. She still talks to me like I'm in the 3rd grade. She retired. My dad was in the military. He spent time in Vietnam, and he worked in a paper company in Cincinnati. And every Sunday we would go to church. And then after church, we would go see my grandmother and my grandfather in New Madison, Ohio. And to get to see them, I would look forward to it and interacting. And yeah, it was just, you were praying before your meal. You were spending time. There wasn't a lot of, there wasn't all this technology and the gaming stuff. So it was really like you going out and throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
Or you're having conversations. I love to listen to his stories. And when I got to walk with him, that was just like, man, that was the best. He passed away probably when I was 9 or 10. He never got to see me in this profession.
Rest in peace.
But,
Sorry about your loss.
No, but it was, I still remember that. And, some of the memories get fuzzy, but I remember spending time with him. And I remember him telling me, patting me on the shoulder, talking to I was like, wow, this person is coming off their porch to meet you and talk to you. And he wasn't a real tall guy, but to me, he was like 10 foot tall.
He was a giant.
Yeah. And to see people come over and he would shake hands and he knew people. He knew their name. He would look them in the eye. He didn't wait till them across the street. They would meet and shake hands, and he said, it's always about how you treat people.
Wow.
Never know what people are going through. And then, of course, life lessons and all, like you said, I have a strong foundation in faith. I think that gets us through the crazy things that we interact with and see.
It absolutely does.
I think
does.
God certainly has a plan. I don't mean to get, but he certainly has a plan for you.
No,
He absolutely does.
I just think, we didn't come into this world with anything, and we're not taking anything out, but the investment we make in other people.
Absolutely. I love it.
One thing I admire about you so much, and I've known you for a few years now, is how you balance running the department of over 400 officers with being so visible, whether at crime scenes, football games, or community events. And then, of course, you balance your faith. And, of course, you've got to have some type of family that you have to balance. Talk to us a little bit about how that process works with balancing all of those things together.
I'm still trying to figure it out. So let's see. So the department is, we're authorized 484 officers now. We actually increased our staffing by the grace of God, our mayor, city manager.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Our department is growing. So, and I never compare us to anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when they're like, hey, we're going to add officers to your department, and look, you give them to me, we'll fill it. And people don't always come for money. It's what's the culture? What do you like? I remember on a side, I remember talking to John Cohane and like, man, Richmond, fast pace. I was going to get exposed to a lot. I was going to learn a lot very, very quickly. And I think it's here in the same in Newport News. But when I ask people, why do you choose this city? Why do you come to Newport News?
Right.
What I hear young people say today, we see what you guys do in the community. We see what you're interacting with youth and the technology and the training that you have here. That's why we come here. And it's just, man,
awesome.
it's every officer who applies, before we go to that final step, I sit down and have maybe a 20-minute interview with them and just have a conversation.
Wow.
Kind of like what we're doing here. And I tell them the same thing.
Yeah.
Just come in, breathe, and be. So how do you balance all that? So when you talk about close to 500 officers, when you talk about 126 civilians, because we have dispatchers as well, that all falls under the police department.
Right.
I believe at the end of the day, we talked about faith already, right?
Yes.
There's got to be a foundation.
Absolutely.
I think that molds you, and you continue to read, and so tomorrow morning I'll get up and I'll go to church, so the pastors here in Newport News have been so. I hate but Bishop Riddick and Pastor Swan and
absolutely.
Shout out to Swan.
Man, I'm telling you, I tease him, but he may not want people to know, but he was on the panel that helped select the next chief here. He was. I remember doing a scenario in front of him. Mm-hmm. And
who is this?
Pastor Swan.
Pastor Swan. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. But Tony Clark at Calvary Chapel. I mean, the pastors have just been. I think that's such a huge part when we talk about. You were talking about the mid-year numbers.
Yeah.
And I was laying up there when you talk about, we worked with this organization, that organization.
Correct.
There was a thumbnail on chaplains and faith, and I do believe that a lot of people pray for this department. They pray for this city.
They do.
And I think there's power in that. So I just, that's huge. So balancing it for me. So right now I'm single. I was married. Married for about 10, 11 years.
Okay.
Great relationship. It wasn't, we still stayed friends to this day. But I'm single, so that gives me one advantage. I will tell you that.
Why is that? Tell us about
because I will
that.
tell you, because and it's very, you talk about work-life balance, and I know young officers or in your sergeants, lieutenants, captains that are married and have kids, and some are, hey, I've got my son's playing baseball today, or my wife has this event, or my husband has this event, and I'm listen, go.
Right.
I got it. I'm here.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's important. But I will say, I believe what sets us apart is you've got to show up. You've got to be there. You don't necessarily have to say anything when you're there, but you've got to be there. So
Wow.
if you ask my department, if I wasn't sitting here and you guys had the department here, we're like, Officer so-and-so and Lieutenant so-and-so, Sergeant, where is he on Friday? It was either Friday Night Nets or now it's at Friday Night Football. Saturday afternoon football, right? What I like here in Newport News, all the games are at Todd Stadium.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
In
Right.
Richmond, you had all these different. Here, everything's right there. So I
Right.
enjoy going to the football games. I enjoy going up to watch the high school kids play baseball. And those football players, they certainly do not stop the game. Say, hey, Chief. But when you walk around that stadium and you thank the officers first that are working,
Right.
and some parents will wave to you, some kids will stop and wave to you. Then you show up the second week and now they're talking to you.
Yeah.
Some may just get a head nod. Then you start getting some fist bumps or high fives. Then you get students that'll come over. Can I take a picture with you? Absolutely. And those little things matter, but it's consistent. I hear people say all the time, you guys know, I think young people know when you're genuine or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can't
Absolutely.
you can't just show up one time for a picture and that's it.
Right.
I'd much rather have a picture with when a student takes a picture or selfies or InstaChat, whatever, all that stuff.
Right.
Right.
Way beyond me.
Right.
But that matters to me. Those kids matter to me, man. And maybe we'll talk about some of the programs, but But I think being in the community matters. Today we had the parade. I just walked it, but I didn't walk in the parade. I walked to the sidewalk alongside and just stopped and talked to individuals that were sitting there with their kids, whether you're passing out stickers or whatever. Myself and Chief Rogers, Wesley Rogers, the fire chief. I think that matters. I think taking time out for people matters, and that means some long days. So don't tell my boss, but I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
but I can work till 2 or 3 in the morning like nobody else.
Wow.
But you won't start at my assistant like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, wait, a.m. We got to be there at 8 a.m. Yeah. So when you guys said, when we set this time up, I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. Yes,
So everything's a balance. You put everything in balance. You know, you have your priorities, but I do think it's important, and there's probably nothing more important to me than the youth of our city. I think they're talented. I think things are really hard with youth today. When I grew up, you didn't have all that stimulus of social media and the things that it causes, and things linger out there. If you Moses, me and you may have gotten into an argument on Monday, and Tuesday we're back on the ball field, or at the court, whatever.
Yeah.
And today stuff lingers, and other people add stuff to it, and peer pressure. So
it's so fun that you say that, because before I got married to my wife, one of the things we went through premarital counseling.
Okay.
And a lot of people put a bad name on it, but it's actually a good thing.
Sure.
And one of the things that we learned was, when we go through things, let's not involve, our mother-in-laws, our father-in-laws, because what happens is we make up, we repair it, we fix it, but they remember it.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I love the analogy that you use with social media. It kind of records those things.
Yeah.
And it's like a stain that, you can't come back from, because we can make up, we can figure things out. But if it continues to play, it's like it just marinates. So a lot of what you said has to do with community and trust.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of my next section I was getting into. A lot of the things that you do in community, are you doing that? Is that part of what your strategy is to build community trust? Especially with, over the years, the elephant in the room is we know that communities and police officers, we've had some tension over the years across the country.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I hear you say, Chief, is really about being there, being involved, being right there, not just one day, but consistent. Is that part of what you feel is important to build trust within the community to make everybody safer? Talk about that.
Absolutely. I didn't get to know as many people or have as relationships. Like you said, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And our interactions have passed across. I just think you have to put in effort for that. We didn't build these relationships overnight. In law enforcement, we certainly have our shadows that things that, and I'm on Richmond, here in Newport News, Oakland, California, it doesn't matter. Whether you're in DC, Florida, Texas, whatever, things happen. You can turn on the news and you see things happen in bad interactions.
Right.
And so shout out to the firemen, right? Everybody loves the firemen.
Shout out to the firemen.
Yes.
Everybody loves the firemen. You're right.
Everybody loves the firemen.
Cat's out of the tree. And,
Right.
and I don't know, I'm not going to bash them here. I love them to death, but I tease them all the time.
Right.
But in law enforcement, we have to work really hard that we don't get just wrapped up in this label. And it is my hope, if we talk about youth at all later, it is my hope that when people, I saw what the police did. Well, you know what? That's not our department. I'm just going to tell you. So we have a young adult police commissioner program.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior from each high school.
Okay.
Right.
And I really think the way into a community, everybody wants you to invest in young people, kids.
Yes.
Facts.
So new chiefs will call and like, hey, chief, there's a community issue here. What would you start with the kids?
Yeah.
When people see that you're genuine with their kids, it's very, very hard to get frustrated. You might not agree with things, but at least they see you investing time with their kids. So,
Absolutely.
So 24 young adult police commissioners, 4 from each high school, 6 high schools, right? And 24. Last year we had 45 kids. I don't know where they all came from.
Wow.
Right. We went from picking them up in police cars and doing events with them to now we get to get these vans. And we bring them to headquarters. We feed them. And they let you know, now we don't want Domino's. Chick-fil-A. Right?
Chick-fil-A is a winner.
So I guess it's right. But man, we have debates. The news outlets come in, teach them how to do interviews. We go to the food bank together. I'll take 4 or 5 other officers and go to their high schools, and they will facilitate something like we're doing here, a conversation, right?
Yes.
And usually when the first kid answers or raises a question, then it rolls from there. It takes a while to get started.
Yeah.
Right.
They always want to talk to the people in forensics, right? The NCIS and all the
CIS,
stuff. Right?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
My wife's favorite shows.
See, there you go, right? So they love to talk to, But when you talk to those kids, they look at the world differently. And I learn as much from them as they do from me and from us. So we kind of open the doors. We talk to them about what the police department does, different divisions.
Wow.
But one of the best things, and it goes directly to your question, is we'll put those high school kids, and we have some people in the academy that aren't much, but maybe 2 or 3 years older than those seniors.
Wow.
So we'll put them in a room, high school and police recruits, and we'll mix them up. Not all the high school kids here and the police, we're mixing them up. And we'll facilitate. I don't know if you know Dr. Lyons. She's helped me with that before.
Yeah. Good friend of mine, Dr. Lyons. Yeah.
Very good advisor to me. I'm just telling you now.
Right.
She actually sat on we did interviews for captains yesterday, and she was one of the panel members. Again,
Wow.
community, bringing individuals in to sit on a panel
Yes.
to select the leadership of the department.
Yes.
And that's sergeants, lieutenants, captains, and assistant chiefs. Pastor Maxwell sat on those panels, but the community, President NAACP helped us pick our latest lieutenants.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
Jennifer Brooks.
Y'all hear that?
Wow.
That is huge
Wow.
because I'm telling you,
Wow.
I'm asking questions about policy and procedure. Civilians will ask questions. How are you going to interact with our kids on the street corner? How many times are you going to stop by the Boys and Girls Club and talk to people?
Wow.
What are you doing in the community to build relationships? And I want our officers to know if that's what the chief's going to bring in, if I want to be promoted in this organization,
Right.
we're not just talking about community policing. We're going to make it a part. So let's go back to these kids. So we're in the room and we talk about 45 minutes in, and I'll ask the students, what do you want from police officers? What do you expect? And it's usually about 45 minutes you hear, don't judge me because of my skin color.
Okay.
Don't judge me because of my zip code where I live.
Right.
Don't judge me because of other interactions you've had with other kids.
Right.
And when I say hello to you or wave at you, please wave back.
Wow. Wow.
That's pretty deep.
Exclusive.
That's pretty
Exclusive,
deep.
y'all. 80,000.
I am not teaching that. There's no academy class that teaches that. There's
Yes.
no in-service that teaches that.
Yes.
So now we talk to the recruits, right? What do you want from young people today? Don't judge me for what you saw from some other police officer, some interaction. Don't judge me for what you've seen on TV across the country.
Yes.
Wow.
When I talk to you, have a conversation with me, and when I wave to you, wave back to me. It's
love
the
it.
exact same thing from two different sides, and to see that, it's just like, man, a light pops on. And then I've got kids inviting them to their school events or their games or debates. I've got when we have our graduation. You guys are certainly welcome. We have our next class graduates in October.
We'll be there.
I'm telling you, 9/11 service at CNU coming up. Our next graduation is in October. We have another one in February. Every event we do, graduation, memorial service, 9/11 service, promotional ceremony, there is always a high school student from this city who makes remarks. And I don't think you'll see that anywhere else in the country. I want young people to see that we are investing in them in this city.
Wow.
I want those recruits to hear, hey, I'm graduating the police academy and you got a high school student as a guest speaker.
Wow.
That's game changing. And I've heard some students, man, you guys get me choked up in here, but you said it was a safe place, right?
It's
Yes.
a safe place.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
One student said, my friends say things about law enforcement, but I wanted to myself. I joined this program and it's nothing like what I thought it would be. I've never felt like bigger part of a family.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I could try to get through this without getting choked up.
No, man.
No, just
do it.
This young student said, I've lost a lot spending time with law enforcement, and it's not common in my culture, in my community, that as a black female that you're spending time with police officers.
Wow.
She said, I've lost a lot. Friends.
Wow.
But she said, I have gained so much more.
Wow.
And
That's so. I'm a pause right here and let you just marinate. I want everybody to marinate.
is it okay
on
to
what
if I can take a drink of this?
Yeah,
water, I'll be all right.
absolutely.
So what I love about what's happening here, we're building a really good cultural experience here.
Yes.
And what I love about what you said, Chief, was the fact that you allowed the community to let you know and let your officers know what they expect of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to hear them and feel them, embrace them, and then equally communicate, here's what I'm looking for, here's what we're looking for. And what it reminds me of the big C word, communication.
Right.
And a lot of times in cultures and different races and generations, one of the biggest things that I think causes cultural divides is communication. when there's a lack of communication,
That's right.
then you ever get an email from somebody, and when you get an email, it feels like they're upset through the email,
Right.
And then you email
Or a text
back-
message.
or a text message,
Yeah,
and
right.
then you text back, and then now they're fired up, and then when you call them on the phone, it's like, hold on, oh, it wasn't that,
Yeah.
and it was just totally misconstrued.
That's right.
Communication is so important, and the fact that you've embraced that, Chief, and you've come and you've really made yourself a part of the community and what's important to them, and really getting feedback, and then also sharing what you expect and the things that you're looking forward to. I think that's the start of a beautiful relationship that not only impacts how people feel about officers, but it saves lives.
Definitely.
So, I applaud you. And that goes into my next section. 13% drop in overall crime. We talked to John Ely. We interviewed him about maybe 3-4 months ago.
Yes, sir.
And he shared a lot of what the city of Newport News is doing, how he's participating in, and the things that you guys are doing. Talk to us a little bit about that. How do you feel about that 13% drop? How does that make you feel? And what went into that, making that happen?
Well, first, thank you for letting me take that minute. I didn't mean to get choked up.
No,
No,
no.
you're good.
I remember sitting there and hearing her, and it was a gasp. It was just like, wow, that was a moment. And that's exactly when we talk about integrating community in law enforcement, whether it's Citizens Academy, Hispanic Academy, our communities that right now are scared and concerned about some of the things going on, and it's going out to churches in their neighborhoods and their communities, having real conversations that we're not going to be a part of this department. I don't want you to live in fear. I understand there's uncertainty. Here's my number. That's important. So about the drop in crime, I would tell you, I don't know if you guys, in baseball, we're very superstitious, so it's the same in law enforcement, right? So we never say, hey, it's going to be a good night tonight, or we're not going to have any, right?
Right.
But I will tell you, those numbers are reflective of a holistic approach. There's not one thing. Chief, one thing that the police department do to reduce crime, and the one thing we do is invest in people. It's the men and women who put this uniform on day in and day out, and the daily interactions we have. When you build a relationship with kids, things can decrease. When you build a relationship with people, you've come to my church, right? Hey, Chief, I saw you at the parade today.
Yeah.
Those things matter. So it's like a big puzzle, and the police department is a piece of it. The fire department plays a role. The Commonwealth Attorney's Office plays a role.
Yeah.
Our high schools, right? They play a role. Our faith leaders, our churches play a role. Neighborhood watches, all of that. Our CARES unit. A lot of calls we go on deal with mental illness. And 3 or 4 years ago, who's responding to that but someone with a badge and uniform and a firearm? And that may cause some type of response just visually as we walk up to a situation.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to find different ways, being creative, investing in technology, solving cases quicker. One thing, we have great partnerships with our federal, state, and local. We just partnered with the state police. 4 state troopers worked with us all summer long.
Wow.
We have officers on every federal task force. We have technology. Individuals sometimes are afraid to come to court and testify.
Yeah.
And that used to really, just being honest with you guys, that used to really bother me. And as a young officer, like, here's a crime, you saw it, why would you not come to court and testify?
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember Sergeant Cohane at the time, Steve, when you leave, they're still here. Whatever community or neighborhood, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But they're still here. So technology, being able to capture some of that now, when they're in court with the judges, the attorneys, the jury, they want to see the photograph, the audio recording.
Yeah.
Where's the video? Where's the ring camera footage? Where's the gun in the hand? So that has helped us and developed us. Another big thing, kind of looked at some things in Colorado. A big shout out to Chief Creswell, who oversees our homicide division.
Shout out, Chief.
Shout out, Chief.
We respond very, very heavy to homicides. We're bringing the cavalry,
Right.
forensics, technology, officers, detectives, right? We now respond the same way, and have for about the last 2 or 3 years. We respond the same way to shootings.
Okay.
So someone who just gets shot in the arm, sometimes they're not as cooperative. We're going to handle it. I'm going to handle this myself. But going to the hospital, having
You mean
those
like
interactions.
not to pause? You mean like the person is getting shot and he's like,
Yes.
I'm going to put the law in my hands
That's right.
and take care of business. Okay,
So we're
gotcha.
responding. We're bringing the same resources to a shooting where you just may have got shot in the shoulder or the leg, and not downplaying it all, because centimeters, it could be the difference in something else.
Right.
But the quicker you can resolve those conflicts so you don't get retaliation and things build, social media, if you're making quick arrests in the individuals who hurt other people, I think that calms things down.
It
that
does.
calms tensions down.
Yeah.
Yes.
What you don't want is we haven't done any, we haven't made any arrests in 2 or 3 weeks, and tensions, and they heal up, and now they're friends, or that plays out in some youth event or somewhere in the community, and we don't want that. So responding to crime quickly, investing in technology, having strong community partnerships and relationships. You know, I would tell you, man, I would say 80% of the crime we have in this city is people who know each other and interact with each other.
Yep.
Wow.
Right? Whether it's a domestic situation, where there's individuals that get involved in the drug stuff, or if they're doing the trade. So there's a lot. We don't have, by the grace of God, we don't have people going out and hurting other people that they just don't know.
Right.
I got into an argument.
Right.
Alcohol's involved, drugs are involved, fentanyl's a big concern for us.
Yep.
So all of those things together, when you ask what drops that crime, a reporter asked me, it's the men and women who put this uniform on day in and day out. It's the grandma who lives on the corner that's like, you ain't going to do that on this corner. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to call the police.
Right.
You're not going to intimidate me.
Yeah.
It's officers building relationships that allow, who would get the most tips from about issues if someone posts something about, I'm going to do something at a school, they come from the kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
They
Yeah.
send those.
They tell on each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know who they talk to? They talk to those school resource officers.
Yeah.
That are not there to make sure kids are in class or to have their phone in the hallway. They're there to protect that school and build relationships.
Right.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, every high school graduation at Hampton Coliseum, you'll see me sitting in the stands, not on the podium with all the doctorates and all the high right, the high degrees. It's important for me to show up for those kids at their graduation. They walk across the stage, and I'm there. And I cannot tell you the parents that I have never met that will come up and say, Chief, I saw you at my graduation. I saw you at my son's graduation. Daughter. That matters, man. The SROs will go with the students for the representative of their schools. But to be there, it sends a message. And people that I've never even met will send me an email, text message, phone call. Chief, I just wanted to say I'll be at the grocery store.
Wow.
And people come up like, Chief, you went to my son's graduation. I saw you, and that meant so much. And so I talk to officers. You never know those little things. You may not know it for years.
Yeah.
Right.
But those little bits of investment go a long way. So you show me a department that has a bad relationship with community, and I'll show you a department that has a real problem with crime.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. They go hand in hand. And I'm so glad that you brought up the fact of technology. John talked a lot about technology. And what I think about is, like, if you're at work and you work for a big company and you see something wrong, and, you go to your manager or you go to the supervisor and you say, hey, I saw something happen. The first thing that people are worried about is retaliation. Right. And when you think about that, and there's things that jobs have in place, obviously, to protect people against retaliation, even from their own manager. Right.
Absolutely.
So when you think about the technology and taking the pressure off of, because let's be honest, I grew up on Shell Road, and the thing that we all talk about is the snitch thing. People snitching and not want to, get retaliation from somebody in their own neighborhood. You talk about 80% of the people are people that know each other. So
Absolutely.
Having that technology to take the pressure off somebody saying, I don't want to be responsible for bringing this person to justice when I may lose my life the next night, because you're here, Chief, but tomorrow you're not.
That's
so
right.
Who's protecting me? So I think there's a balance. I really love that, you're heavily involved in community and you understand the balance that's needed to bring those resources together. So I think it's beautiful stuff.
My father, when I was growing up, he would set certain rules in the house. And then he would sit me down. He would say, hey, listen, these are the rules of this household. And he would say, now that you're getting a little older, I want to make sure that you understand these rules and why they're in place. Sure. So when you get home from school, the first thing you need to do is make sure that your room's clean.
Wow.
Also make sure that your mom has everything set up for herself to cook dinner. And you also need to make sure that the outside borders of this house are clean. So if you see trash out in front of the house, in the front yard, in the backyard, that's something that you need to do as far as cleaning up. And he would just always have all these strict rules.
Right.
And I really didn't understand. One day I just said, I kept it real with him. I said, Pop, why you got all these rules? I feel like you don't love me.
Oh, wow.
He said to me, one of the most important statements he said to me was, "Son, I have all these rules because I love you.
Wow. Wow.
They're set up because I love you and because I want you to learn responsibility.
That's right.
And I want you to know that when you get out into the real world, there'll be even bigger rules that you need to follow." As chief of police, when it deals with the guns,
Yes.
and I've been in situations where I used to work security for the alley, and there were situations where I would walk the parking lot, and there would be a gun in every other car.
Right.
Some of these cars would be unlocked.
Right.
And it was interesting earlier when you spoke about mirroring each other. You know, the young lady spoke about what she expects out of you, and then you were able to mirror back with her with, as a police officer, this is what we expect from you. So, as chief of police, what is the responsibility that you want on us as a community when it comes to gun violence and carrying guns? Because to be honest with you, there's a rule set up where man is able to, you know, in the Constitution where they can bear arms.
Correct.
We have abused that law.
Yeah.
We have abused that responsibility.
Facts.
My favorite comic hero is Spider-Man.
Okay.
And because of that, the number one rule that Spider-Man talks about is with much power comes much responsibility.
That's right.
So, as
Yeah.
chief of police,
Yeah.
where's our responsibility when it comes to guns, and have we corroborated and did what we needed to do as far as keeping the gun violence or the gun crime off of Newport News, Virginia?
You went deep with me on that. Spider-Man and Peter Parker, right? Don't think I don't know who they are, right? Don't think I know who they are, right? Absolutely. So I will tell you, when you talk about firearms, I'll talk it on two sides.
Yes, sir.
It does seem, you know, when we were kids, I don't care, high school, whatever, if you got into a shoving match or whatever, verbal, it was just over the next day. It didn't linger. Today,
Yes.
I see younger and younger people with quick access to firearms, whether it's in a vehicle, they have it on them, that pull it, and the first thing they pull that trigger. And I think a lot of it is emotion and anger.
Right.
But once you pull that trigger, that projectile that comes out, you can't take it back.
Talk about it, Chief.
Talk about it, Chief.
Man, somebody that pushes someone down is very different than someone fires around and someone may never walk again. God forbid you take someone's life, that you're in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. It's just some of that anger and frustration. So one, I think that's why we have to start younger. But there are a lot of firearms out there. We probably remove about 1,000 firearms from the street. We track,
Wow.
in law enforcement, you track everything.
Yes.
Every Monday and every Thursday, we're getting crime data and stats, and that's one of the things. Look, how many firearms have we removed from the street this week? How many total for the year? And it's
Wow.
overwhelming. It really, and some of the firepower that's out there, vests that we wear, it's not meant for, you're not. That stuff goes right through, and I mean through walls, people. So the type of firearms. The switches where you just add something to a firearm and it becomes automatic. And
Right.
Shoot 10 or 12 rounds in a matter of seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think you got to value life. There are a lot of firearms, and it's just, we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to change it overnight. And some say, why do you even spend that much time in it? You're not going to fix it. Look at where, but when we say, we can't fix it, we just got to quit, then we've already lost.
Yeah.
It's almost like we may not win it today, but we're going to be in a fight.
Yeah,
we're going to be in a fight.
absolutely.
We're going to finish this round. So yeah, the firearms thing, the accessibility, where they're at, where they're located, making sure that parents like your father,
Yes.
I'd love to know if he would have been searching your room or putting something away in your room and found a firearm at your house. I don't know how you would have. I don't know how your father would have. I would not have been wanting to you, just from what you said about your dad. I would not have wanted to be you coming home and your dad had found a firearm.
No, it would have been a whooping.
Right?
It would have been a big whooping.
yeah.
It would've-
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It would have been a big whooping.
The neighbors
yeah.
might have called, right?
Yes,
Right,
yes, yes, yes.
And I think sometimes individuals don't feel that love around them. They don't have that family structure.
Right.
And they try to find it in somewhere else. And okay, yeah, you can come hang with us and we're going to be your friends and we're going to take the place of your family. But
Right.
hey, you got to carry a firearm, or we got some enemies or friends, and things start there and, and it just evolves. I spent a lot of time talking to Devon Kelly, the Ketchmores, other individuals, my friend Adrian, that do a lot of work, Abyss, do a lot of work in the community, and
Right.
they educate me a lot. I'm not going to come in and man, I know how to do this, What I do know how to do is talk to people, communication, and
Right.
hear other perspectives. So yeah, the gun violence. But I'll tell you, it is something for a mother to say, Chief, I'd like to talk to you. Sure. And she says, my son, you guys said safe place, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Chief, I like the police. We want the police in our communities. So, I always ask when we do our CompStat presentations, where they present out to us every Thursday, we look at the crime reduction in this neighborhood and that neighborhood. I will ask the officers or the captain of those precincts, are we getting complaints about over-policing, that there's too many police here? And Chief, no. A lot of issues happen when people come into other neighborhoods or communities and try to take advantage of those communities. So I want to make sure we're doing, but when a mother says to me, my son, who has a different skin color than you, is he going to be okay if he is stopped by a police officer in this city?
Wow.
I never worried about that when I was a high school kid growing up. I don't think my mom or dad ever asked another officer that.
Yeah.
So that was hard for me early on, and even hearing it now. So, but let's not dismiss it. Let's have that conversation. That hearing that's a real concern. Hey, I'd love to meet your son. I'll come talk to him, whether it's church group, high school, friends. I'll come to your house. But as long as always comply with what's going on and complain later. But I will tell you, just being honest, when a police officer makes a traffic stop, we are just as nervous.
Absolutely.
I don't know, there's a license plate on a car, but I don't know who we're going to talk to. I don't know who that individual is. I don't know if that individual may have a warrant on file or has done some type of violence. Officers are just as nervous on traffic stops. And that's one of the things we work with those kids and try, like, hey, well, let's do role reversal. You be the officer and we'll be the high school. But I think you have those conversations. I think that your dad investing that in you is so important. Those life lessons. And that's why I don't want people just to meet me or a police officer when something bad happens. Hey, Chief, hey, officer, how you doing? Hey, look, I just want you to know I did a traffic stop yesterday and 3 kids in the car, like, hey, they knew you. And that's what I like. That's what I like. They said to tell you hello. I just think you have to have open conversations.
Wow.
Part of communication. I'm learning more and more is to be a good listener.
Yes.
Even though the information you have might be inaccurate, I'm going to give you that time to get that. Sometimes you just got to get it off your chest. And people will call in and complain. And like, I don't understand why you blocked 3 streets or why you had this so long. And this is why. Oh, Chief, no one explained that to me. And sometimes just having that conversation clears so much up, whether it's firearms, community interactions, not understanding why we do what we do. I think that at the end of the day, this badge and these patches on my shirt, they don't make us any different than anybody else.
Wow.
Right? It's we're all want to go home. We want to have a good life. We want to enjoy life. And this, believe it or not, this isn't real gold, right? This isn't real gold, I promise you. So we're just like everybody else. We have the same challenges and human. And I think the only way we do better is getting through it together.
But I want to thank you for saying that, because this interview means not only so much to me, Stefano. We both have sons, but this means a lot to the world. This is going to mean a lot to the world. I've got a 13-year-old black kid upstairs. And what you said was emotional to me, because I never thought in my life,
take your time,
I would be sitting with someone who could make sure my son can breathe if he's getting pulled over.
Wow.
And I think police officers do get a bad rap. And the reason why I say that is because black people get a bad rap for the ones that's doing the bad stuff out there too. And there's good men like me and Stefano who are taking care of our families, who are working jobs, who are tax-paying citizens, who get a bad rap because of the color of our skin. But at the same time, there are officers who are afraid. I've seen it online where officers will get out of their car and they'll say, can I get your license and registration? As soon as they turn it back, an AR-15 is coming out of the window and they're getting shot and they're getting killed. And they are fathers, they are uncles, they are parents. Everyone deserves respect. And I think what you said, Chief Drew, matter so much. We all have a responsibility. And the biggest thing that's really gonna, and guys, audience, I want you to understand this, what we're talking about is gonna last for decades. It's gonna save lives, it's gonna impact communities. But the biggest thing I want everybody to understand is it takes a village to raise a family. And then part of that village are our police officers, are the chief of police. It is the community. It is having these conversations for us to come together and realize that we can't do it without each other. We can't do it without the police officers, and the police officers damn sure can't do it without us.
That's true.
And when we come together and we can have open, honest dialogue about race, about diversity, equity, inclusion, about young kids and what they should do. What should a young black male do when they are pulled over? What is the etiquette? What is the response? What is the mannerisms that we need to make sure that young man can go walk away and walk and see his parents? What does the officers need to do to make sure they can go back to their families?
Absolutely.
Because when we do that, we build community, and these people go on to be presidents. They go on to run countries. They go on to make decisions that change generations.
That's right.
But when you end those lives, I had my first cousin. He was the star quarterback for Phoebus High School.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's one of our big rivals here in the city.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, here we
Absolutely.
His
Yeah.
name was Jamel Dennis.
go. Okay.
He had one of his greatest football games for Phoebus. Him and his friend walked home, and a young couple of guys came up to rob him and went to hit him with the gun and shot him in the head. My first cousin, I used to take baths with. I grew up with Jamel Dennis as a kid. When my dad called me and said, "Your cousin is gone," I thought I was next. I had 5 people in my family pass away within 3-month period, and I thought I was next. The point I'm making to you is that when somebody leaves this earth because of gun violence,
That's right.
it's a scary thing. And it makes you think, as a young black male, am I next? But to have a chief of police sitting in my house, he could have said no. We got a Caucasian chief of police sitting between 2 black men in the house, and he's comfortable. This should tell you, America, that not all police officers are bad. But guess what? At the same time, not only do police officers have a responsibility, but we as the black community, the Asian community, the Chinese community, we all have a responsibility. I'm sorry, I know I went deep, but I had to express that. That was on my heart, and that's what I was feeling.
No, I felt when you talked about your son. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. I think it when people see things around them in their community, their neighborhoods, or they hear things, or it must be, I think there's so much value in just it's consistent. It's just like those football games. It's consistent. Week 1, I get some head nods. Week 5, I'm taking selfies with high school kids, man, and
Yeah,
that's huge.
absolutely.
I think you start the foundation in maybe you guys tell me in your professions, but in mine, whoever's leading an organization, everyone else will kind of like, hey, if that's what our leader does, I can't walk in a parade and expect people not to walk in a parade. I can't show up at football games, and if I expect officers to do that, and I'm not doing that, when they see me doing it, they know the chief's going to be. I got off work yesterday at 6:00. I knew there was a game at 7. I spent an hour in the community where we had the dog bite incident.
Yeah.
They're like, "Well, Chief, are you going to take him?" No, I'm just going to park my car. I'm going to walk that community twice.
Wow.
And I probably had 12 citizens that came out just to talk to me. And all that is me just showing, I want you to know I'm here. If you want to come out and talk to me, that's great. If not, that's fine. I saw blinds open up. Some people look at you and come out, some won't. But I think the training aspect's important. In our training academy, we train twice as much as what the state mandates.
Yes.
And I just want to share this with you.
Talk about
Go
it.
ahead, talk about it.
So we have the laptops and computers, right? For 1 week, about midway through, we shut those laptops off. We have to get credits for what we teach and submit that to the Department of Criminal Justice Services at the state. Mike Coker is our representative, friend of mine, but he's up in Richmond, right? And he oversees training in multiple jurisdictions. But for 1 week, we take those 20 recruits, and instead of talking to them about a PowerPoint presentation about community and communication, we get out of the classroom, and what better way to teach community service, what we're going to do in this profession, than to do it, right? So we'll go out and walk a community.
Wow.
We're going to deal with people that are homeless. We're going to go down to Four Oaks and talk to individuals that are homeless. We're going to talk to people who have drug addictions.
Wow.
We're going to go into elementary schools and read books to kids. We're going to show up and interact. Social services, human services. So human services. And I probably will get it wrong. You guys, they can do like, you never know who you're interacting with.
Yeah.
But they do this poverty simulation.
Yeah.
And I got to go through it about 4 years ago. And they tell you, okay, this is your income. And then they do these injects. So I'm a single dad and I have 3 children and I'm working and I want to, something happens to my kid at school. And so I have to leave work, and they're like, all right, well, that's going to cut out your hours that you get paid. You get paid
Right.
hours, so you're losing
Pay
money.
less, yep.
So now I'm going to talk to my kid at school, and the like, hey, your kid's going to be expelled for 5 days for fighting, or kicked out of school, suspended, I guess, for 5 days. So, well, how am I going to take care of my 13-year-old? And I'm a single dad, and I'm working. I only have one car. How am I getting them back and forth now?
Right.
How to get them to? I got to pay someone to it. And you learn. Well, you know, you have this much money. We have these bills, and you don't have enough to cover all the bills, so you're making decisions. And I was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't make this. How do you win this game? I can't
Right.
make. And they're like, it's not. This is life,
Yep.
chief, right? And people have to make these decisions every
Yeah.
day. Now take that, all those things going on in your life, and you're at a traffic stop with an officer.
Oh, my
Or you
God.
have an officer that runs into you at some business or some situation.
Yep.
Or they call you at the school because you're upset that you're. And all those things going on, it makes you look at people and situations differently.
Wow.
And that poverty simulation, man, I got frustrated because I couldn't make the money work.
Right.
Wow.
And they're like, that's real life with people who struggle with poverty. That's real life with people. You don't know as a single parent maybe who all your kids are hanging out with,
Yeah.
and influences they have. And I'm like, well, I want to be with them. I want to be home with them. Well, no, you lost money and your boss says you have to come back. It's just, man, it's eye-opening.
Yeah.
And I can't teach that in a classroom.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's those type things. It's bringing instructors in, Dr. Lyons and others that come in and talk about psychology and people, interacting with people. That matters. So we're thinking outside the box. I think we're probably one of the most progressive departments, but that's important. We can't police the same way we did in 1985.
Yeah.
I remember a high school student that made a speech at our last graduation, and he said, "We don't want you policing us. We want you interacting and protecting us." And it's like a 17-year-old kid
Wow.
that says that to recruits. And remember now, in the audience, we have all our elected officials, and
Right.
we have parents of these recruits, and you have police officers who are coming to see other officers graduate, and you have a 16-year-old make a statement like that is important. When we have mothers who've lost young people to
Right.
homicide or to gun violence that attend our high school attend our police recruit graduations, that's game changing.
Yes.
And that's why I say what I said when we first started. The best investment you can ever make is in other
As a
people.
community. Wow.
Chief Drew, and I want to go back a few years, and I think we all know like certain iconic pictures over the history of America. I think one of the most iconic pictures we'll ever see in our U.S. history is John F. Kennedy's son saluting his dad as he's being carried in the coffin. We've seen pictures of the space shuttle exploding. We've seen pictures of the airplanes going into
Yeah, the Twin Towers.
the Twin Towers. One of the most iconic pictures I've ever seen in my life was a picture of Chief Drew on one knee with his hand on the vehicle carrying badge number 2237, which is Officer Catherine Katie Time. Many of us know about that incident. Chief Drew, talk to us a little bit about that moment, that picture, and how it feels for you to lose one of your own.
I'll tell you, that's should have built-in pauses. That's good. So yeah, hardest. I lost 4 officers. When I was in Richmond, there were 4 officers who were killed in the line of duty.
Right.
It had been almost 25, 26 years since we had lost one in the line of duty here in Newport News. And then Katie Thine, I remember when she graduated, there was a video of me telling her when I handed her badge and she gets pinned, I put my arm around her and said, "I'm proud of you."
Yes.
So I remember that night. I remember I was at actually a fire department graduation, seeing the fire department recruits graduate. And fire chief stepped out and said, "Hey, there's a serious incident." And myself and Chief Grinstead were in the car. We started heading to the scene. And I, just from experience, or maybe the good Lord, driving there, there's 1,000 things going through your head.
Right.
I saw the massive amount of red and blue lights at that scene. And when they told me that they were transporting her to the hospital in Norfolk, right? Not here. It was closer to, because we were in
They had to go all the way to Norfolk?
Yeah, they
Wow.
went to Norfolk instead of bringing her up to Riverside. Quicker.
Yeah.
I knew at that moment what I was going to be confronted with. And then your mind starts racing. And you kind of shut down and start thinking about, you got to take care of everybody else first.
Right.
Gotcha.
I remember getting to the hospital, and by that time, numerous officers were there, and in law enforcement, and just like in the military, it's like a brotherhood. Not, it's to put your life in someone else's hands and to be there and see the things that we see, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the mental health and wellness, but to see the things that people see. There was officers from Norfolk, Portsmouth. Officers are coming from everywhere, and as I would expect, state police, all of it. I got to the hospital, and matter of fact, a year later, that surgeon, who was a Navy surgeon, came back and spoke at our memorial service. But I remember him coming in the hallway, and we had a conversation, and he said, "Chief, I did everything I could do."
Wow.
And
Take your time.
and he said, I remember when he came back and spoke, he said, the chief just looked at me, and he talked about leadership in his time in the Navy, but he said, the chief of this department, referring to me, he said, he looked at me and said, "Thank you," and we hugged each other. He said, "I never had that happen."
Wow.
So, we still got the crime scene and everything to process, but as we went through that, and now I've got to call her family. Now, it's tradition that you never want to tell someone about a loss of life over the phone.
No.
And that's the way I was raised. That's the way I was taught in the academies in Richmond and here in Newport News. However, because of Instagram and because of Facebook and social media and all those things, messages are always ahead of us.
Correct.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I cannot have her family,
Find out.
her mother, seeing that on social media.
Yeah.
So
Take your time.
Take your
I
time.
needed some advice. So I remember going into a room, and I called Pastor Swan. And I told him the situation. I'm like, I don't want to tell her over the phone, but I can't have her read it through social media.
Yeah.
And he said, "Chief, I'm going to pray with you." And he did.
He did.
And he said, "You got to call her." So I remember calling her, and I could tell in her voice she had already heard some things, but I did notify her over the phone, and I still second-guessed myself. She said, "That's the way I should have done it, but I don't want her hearing from somebody in social media or reading it. I wanted her to hear from me."
Yeah.
And we've had a good bond. We've had a good relationship. But so I remember that night at the hospital, and then the next now you got to go up and you've got to address 40 police officers that are in a waiting room upstairs.
Yeah.
And tell them what we had. So that was hard. We got through the process. I remember when we brought her body back from Norfolk to the funeral home here, and then when we flew her back she was going to be laid to rest up in New Hampshire, Boston area.
Right.
And bringing her the picture you talk about, again, military police, it's respect.
Yes.
And so we stopped as we're bringing her back to see. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos but
Oh, we've seen it. Yeah.
people stop on the interstate and the overpasses and the flags, and that to me is so much respect.
Yeah.
In our community, I mean, the streets were so crowded. They were overflowing out into the street from the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So we stopped at South Precinct where she worked. Officers were in formation there that she worked with. And I remember saluting them and then turning, and I didn't plan it. I didn't think, it was just like, I'm just going to say a prayer. And, you know, I just remember kneeling down and saying a short prayer. It was really like all about respect for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the profession, what men and women do. And
Yes.
I think our community came
They came together.
They came so together. I mean,
Yeah.
we had, we just lost 2 Virginia Beach officers when you talk about the traffic stop shooting. And I remember the police cars, the memorials, and the outpouring. We had a car at headquarters and a car at South Precinct, and they were just flooded with flowers, cards, poems, pictures. She was in the Navy, so you had a lot of people from the military service that came by and paid respect.
Yes.
There was a guy that I met, and it's a full circle, but an older man. And he was going to the hospital to see his son, and he got stopped by Katie Thon. And he said, "Chief, I want to tell you about your officer." And I said, "Yes, sir." And I didn't know what kind of, maybe he had a call with her. And he said, "She stopped me. I was going to see my son." He said, "I absolutely was speeding. She stopped me." And she said, "Listen, you got to get there safe." They said a quick prayer about his son, that he would be okay. And he said, she shook my hand, and that was it.
Oh my God. Wow.
So stuff like that resonates. And Katie got it, man. So all those things play out, in that emotion and healing a department and coming back. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But I mean, she was heavy in the Boys and Girls Club. She coached a basketball team of girls.
Yes.
I don't know if they ever won a game, right? But it was the relationship that she built. So I remember it's about a month later, we were doing a kickball game or something, and the Boys and Girls Club had this basketball jersey, and all the girls on all the teams signed it, and that hangs in headquarters.
Yeah. Wow.
So so if you walk in the halls of headquarters, there's a large picture frame, like you'd see like an athlete's jersey,
framed,
just like that.
Absolutely.
Yep, framed, and it has all these signatures like Coach Katie and that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
It's awesome.
yeah, so that's when you lose someone, and you asked me what that's like. That photo was all about respect and just how I was feeling at that very moment. But I think it's the same in the military. When you lose someone, you have to get through that.
Yes.
And then I remember it really, that night, as we worked through the night into the morning, it was when I got home that I kind of it was like rivers, right, flowing.
Yeah.
Pastor Swan, Bishop Riddick, Apostle Small, all of those individuals reached out to me. They checked on me.
That's awesome.
People in the community, Dr. Cherry was on city council at the time, council members, Cindy Roth, our city manager. It was just, everybody came together.
Pulled in.
then you start now rebuilding.
Yeah.
All right. People still showed up to work. They still took radio calls the next day.
Yep.
We have to keep going. And but it's being realistic. Health and wellness of officers is probably the number one thing we focus on in law enforcement today for the internally.
Yeah, talk about that, because
talk about that.
We talk a lot about health and wellness, for the community and things like that. But my dad is a Vietnam veteran, and he went through Agent Orange and all those traumatic, and he also has PTSD. So I can only imagine night after night being called to certain situations. You don't know what you're going into. What plans and when it comes to mental health do you guys have in place for the officers to keep their sanity?
Yeah, that's the number one topic right now. I will tell you, when I started, something happened. It was like, all right, take a break, get something to drink, wash your face, and get back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was ingrained, and probably the same in the military. You didn't talk about those emotions. You didn't talk about how you felt.
Right.
You certainly didn't sit at a podcast like this and get choked up. Right?
That's what we do.
That's
what we do.
It's
just I really just appreciate you guys bearing with me with that.
Yes, sir.
No, that's what we're here for.
Yes, sir.
But today, 21st century policing, we can't do it like we did in 1985. Today, we're teaching our supervisors to know the officers that work for you, and the ones that talk a lot, and you see them when they stop talking, and the ones that are cut up and laugh, that interact. We have so many things in place now, and continuing to build. But we have our crisis, CISM, crisis intervention distress management.
Okay.
I mean, the things that officers see, and then we ask them to, okay, get it together and go back to work, go to the next call. and we're very careful, like use of force incidents. If we have to use a taser or there's some type of physical altercation or OC spray, whatever it might be,
Right.
we have to report that immediately. So we document it ourselves. Whether a individual complains or not, we're documenting that.
Right.
Yes.
So what we don't document is if on Monday I go to a traffic fatality where a high school student doesn't walk away from, and on Wednesday I go to see go to a call and there's a child death, and then on Friday someone has committed suicide in their garage.
Right.
There's
And
no-
all of that can happen in 1
and all-
week.
Absolutely. And there's no tracking mechanism for that.
No.
So so what we're doing currently is the good supervisors that they know the officers are responding, and a lot of officers, we're very, very young today. An officer that goes to a child death, we're very cognizant because a lot of officers have young children.
Yeah.
So the good supervisors we have a department psychologist,
Yeah.
our CISM group, which is about 80 officers who are trained by psychologists, not to do psychological work, but to check in, to check on, to look for
Right.
triggers, just shoot a call and have a conversation to make sure. If people need to, you know what, that was a hard scene you just went to.
Yep.
30 years ago, you probably weren't leaving.
Right.
Go get something to drink and get back on the street.
Yeah.
Today, take today off, take tomorrow off. A department psychologist, I want you to go talk to the psychologist. And that creates a lot of anxiety sometimes.
Wow.
Right? You got to go talk to the psychologist, right?
Wow.
1985, whoa. You're seeing a psychologist. So what we do today is we have a lot of divisions that mandatory psychological visits at least once a year.
Very good.
Okay.
Our SWAT team, our special victims who deal with crimes against children, our forensics personnel who process crime scenes for hours.
Yeah.
And there's one other group of 4 that have to go see the psychologist every year.
Wow.
And that's the 3 assistant chiefs and myself.
Okay.
And I put that out openly, and we always do it in December. And I tell the officers, I have my psychological session with Dr. Cole coming up in December. I'm looking forward to that. What I'm trying to do is if the chief can do it, everybody can do it.
Yeah.
Right? There's no stigmatism.
Absolutely.
So we talk about things. We're debriefing much more. The more and more officers are trained in this critical stress management. And we just contracted our mayor, our city council, our city manager. We just contracted with a company that sometimes you see something, and you said your dad was in the military. So if you saw something critical, I'd like to talk to someone who had military experience, who's married, their kids are in college, and they moved on, and a male.
Okay.
And a female, and they say, I want to talk to a female. I want to talk to someone who's been doing this for a long time. I don't want to talk to a male psychologist, right? So we have on it's an algorithm with our phones that we can, if you go to this type of call, it automatically triggers that our CISM team knows about it, not the chief, but the CISM team, and we start doing check-ins. We start calling.
Okay.
That's one. The second is it's an app that our insurance will pay that for the officer and their family. Sometimes how we're evolving even now is not just the officer. We got to include that family as well.
Yeah.
That's
making
awesome.
sure, like you were talking about pre-marriage talking.
Yep.
Is your wife like, why can't you tell me what's going on? And people don't want to go home and say what's going on. Or husband, baby, tell me what happened to work today. You don't want me to tell you what happened, and I don't want to talk about it. So you can select the type of psychologist you want to talk to, who has experience in that, older. I'd like to talk to someone younger, more my age, that's a single mother or a single father, that had military experience, that comes from a larger city. So there's a plethora. What really you're paying for is the category of all these psychologists that are pre-approved, and you can pick the one that you want to talk to, and it's an automatic algorithm that triggers us, just like use of force incidents, that when you get dispatched to work with communications, if I'm sending you to a particular call, it's logged in there. All right, you've had this call that's baby death, traffic fatality, and I don't speak of them lightly, but it's important that we know what our officers are seeing and experiencing,
Yep.
This
and
is
we ask
awesome.
them to go out and work in the community, that they need that. And our department, it is the number one priority right now, is health and wellness of officers. And but as the chief, you've got to create an atmosphere in a culture that may not really be willing to accept that.
Yeah.
That it is okay, that we are human. And I would rather some people work out, some people have their faith, their family, reading something, but I don't want it to turn to substance abuse or alcohol, and they find other ways to suppress those feelings. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, to be honest, some, like Chief, I don't need to see the psychologist. I'm like, it'll help me sleep better.
Yeah.
And they will come back and like, that was the best
That was the best decision they
best
could have
thing
made.
that I
made.
Wow.
just got to talk to someone. So
Wow.
so all those things are important, but I want that type of atmosphere in our department, that it's okay, and feelings and emotions are okay. We're people. This badge and these patches don't make us any different than anybody else.
Yeah.
It's a job that we do. But I care about them and their families. That matters to me. And as I do this profession longer with Katie and others, I remember when I went through the counseling session after that, I was doing okay until one of the counselors said, do you look at them as like your kids? But I hadn't really talked about that, but yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like responsible for them, because I worry about them and their families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that really hit me. I still remember that. She leaned over, do you look at them as, and I was like, wow. And I just kind of teared up, and
Yeah.
but it was helpful.
Yeah.
It was helpful. So yeah, I think you know, we talk about officers. You never know what people are going through. But I also don't know what officers go through. They may be having financial problems. They may be having taking care of their mother or father who's ill,
Yep.
right? And the stress that brings. So they may have some issue with a kid at school or their kid. So I just again, it all goes back to investing in people. I think my faith teaches that. Experience teaches that.
Yes.
And I think, and I will tell you guys, I think we have come leaps and bounds. I am blown away with the relationship and the love that I feel from this community on this on this police department. And I don't mean to Steve. I'm talking to this. They bring meals. They will stop by, just interacting, prayers. Churches will come and just do prayers in front of headquarters.
Yeah.
And I welcome all that.
Yeah.
It matters. And we get through this thing in Newport News together.
That's
Absolutely.
important.
I love you.
Well, we are almost out of time,
Yep.
but we're going to do a little game.
Oh boy. Okay.
And we are definitely going to, when the opportunity presides itself, because we do respect your time, we're going to try to bring you back for a part 2. But we want to play a game. Then Moses is going to go with his question of 80 or 80,000.
Okay.
And then I'll give my final thoughts
Sure.
on the interview. Okay. So we're going to play a little game.
Okay.
It's called Greatest of All Time.
All right.
We always do.
Okay.
And the point of the Greatest of All Time is, you know, you're not biased, but you're going to give
Sure.
your honest opinion about what is the greatest of all time. All right. So Greatest of All Time, police TV show. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All
You
right.
guys aren't going to laugh, right? No,
Hold on. I got to give you the options, and then
okay,
I'm going to
good.
give you the options, and then if you have one that I didn't throw in there, then you go ahead. Of course.
Okay.
Feel free to throw in there. All right.
Okay.
So Greatest of All Time. Please, we're just talking police shows. We talk about impact to the culture.
Yep.
What they meant to officers. What it meant
okay.
to the community. What it meant to television.
Okay.
All right. Magnum PI. Oh my God. In the Heat of the Night. NYPD. Chips. Woo! Greatest of all time.
Really? That's what you got? And if it's one that, can I just pick one that's outside?
Absolutely.
From what I see, and it may be special victims, NYPD Special Victims Unit.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
Why?
Because it takes you through the case, the community, and the courtroom, and that's really the whole aspect. It covers everything.
Woo!
Covers the whole.
Yeah, I thought you were
beginning to end.
because I was going to say a little Miami Vice when I was going. I'm glad you gave me multiple choices. So good. Thank you.
Cracking tubs.
Yeah. See. All right. Next question.
Man.
Greatest of all time. All right. And this is overall what they've done, their career, everything. Okay. Overall impact to the community, what you've seen, and they're just overall what they've done great as far as sports concerned, everything. All right. Greatest of all time. Allen Iverson, Michael Vick, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant. Woo! Greatest of all time. How you do that?
Wow.
Why do you do that? It's not
Man.
fair.
Moses, man, I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So I'll answer it this way. I remember watching the Boston Celtics with my dad and seeing Larry Bird. I'd never seen anybody shoot a basketball like that. Michael Jordan, I think he transferred the game
Right.
to what it is today.
Right.
you said LeBron James.
LeBron James.
You know, seeing him what he's done and just break all kinds of records.
Yes.
Phenomenal. I don't think there's anyone at that level.
Right.
And then
Iverson.
Michael Vick and Allen Iverson, both friends of mine.
Come on now, Chief. Talk about it.
I got to go see. I got Michael Vick does so much. He gives so much back to our community. So does Allen Iverson.
He does.
The Chief talked about. We're going to have a big crowd. It's Michael Vick's first college football game.
Right.
Right. And we had some conversation. He was like, "Hey, if you have some extra officers, and we all the departments work together when we have things, whether it's large events or civil unrest. When we had some things that happened after George Floyd's murder.
Right.
But he said, Chief, if you have some extra officers that would be willing to come over to Norfolk State last Thursday night, you had Michael Smith and all the ESPN guys over there, right?
Right.
And I said, well, I will check, Chief. So I asked, and the first person I went to were our school resource officers. I had 8 officers right away that said, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wow. Then I had a couple other officers that were like, hey, why do they get to go? So we ended up sending about 8 or 10, a sergeant, and with that, I'm not going to put officers in another jurisdiction that I don't go myself. So I also went over and worked that game, and I got to see Mr. Vick, Michael, come out with his team, and
awesome.
He stopped and shook my hand. I'll never forget that. So he didn't have to do that, and he did.
Right.
And then Allen Iverson as well. He does a lot in our community.
He does.
He just stopped by.
80,000.
Yes, we are.
I just want to take some time to share something that monumental that just happened a few minutes ago. We were building, we were fellowshipping, and all of a sudden the power cut off in the whole community. And what I told Chief Drew when I told Stefano is that was the devil saying, man, I can't let this happen. It was too much good and community building and fellowship. He didn't like it. But what he didn't know was God had a bigger plan. He said, yeah, he may shut the lights off inside, but my light doesn't stop outside. The sun don't stop. I control the sun. So we're out here on the deck, and we're going to finish the 80,000. But this is just proof to you that at the end of the day, the Alpha and Omega, God makes the final decision. Go ahead, Stefano.
We're going to finish with the greatest of all time question. We're going to keep going. This is the last one, Chief Drew.
Yes, sir.
And this is overall impact,
Okay.
overall community,
Yep.
overall love, overall what they do for you in the station,
Yep.
everything, all right? Downtown Newport News,
Yes.
Midtown,
Yes.
Uptown,
Uh-huh.
or just the whole Newport News
Ah.
in general.
Yeah, that's the easiest one you have. that's the whole city, the community. People, our city's linear, right? People are moving. There's different parts of our community, but
Wow.
it's starting one day, and the north end, the east, the southeast, over by it's just all of it. All of it encompass all of it.
Wow.
And that's what I think makes the city so great.
Wow.
Very dope. Very dope.
Well, Moses, we're going to go ahead with your 80,000 question,
Let's
and
do
then
it.
I'll get my final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
So this is 80,000, Chief.
Yeah.
So what I want to know, what the whole world wants to know, are you living for 80 years, meaning just day by day getting by the hustle and bustle? Or what is more important to you? How you impact people, how you love people, what people say about you, your team, your officers, the next 80,000 years? What's more important, 80 years on earth or 80,000 and beyond in your impact and love?
Wow, that's that's huge. So I think obviously for me it is 80,000 plus, right? On and on and on. It's not in the moment. We do the best we can while we're here, and people invested in me when I was growing up, whether it's my grandfather, teachers, pastors, who invest in the officers that are graduating the academy just in October. They're going to be running the department in 5 or 10 years, long after I'm gone.
Wow.
So I think the investment we make is in each other, and we pass it on. And look, it may not be part of the program, but what you said was just so powerful to me. You guys have something very, very special going on, and I am humbled and honored to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. I have done interviews. I have never been so impressed, and there's something special going on with what you two are doing, and I'm thankful.
Thank you. And there you have it.
Wow.
There you go, Stefano.
Well, I'm going to get my final thoughts, and I'll do it here as God with the rain comes on. My father's Leonardo Milano, and he's one of the biggest drug dealers in Los Angeles when I was growing up. And so because of that, my mother being a heroin addict, and growing up in the South Central Los Angeles, I was always told that officers of the law, they were the enemy. I just stay straight from them. As I got older, to be honest with you guys, I'm gonna keep it authentic. I never really even met a white person or a Caucasian to high school with. I saw them drive by in a cop car, maybe. Maybe I saw them on TV, but never really saw a person of another color other than Mexican in person or interacting with them. It's interesting, Moses and Chief Drew, that my first varsity head coach of my freshman year was a Caucasian man named Coach Greg Burks. On the second day of practice, Coach said, "Hey, I hear you're in a gang. I hear you're one of the Bloods here." I was asking, "Oh, wow. Yeah, you do. And I'm concerned with that if you're going to be on this team." He said, "So you're going to take a ride with me because I hear you're one of the tough guys around the city. In these plots are a lot of tough guys. If you keep doing what you're doing, you'll just be another plot." Then he drove me to LA County Jail. And he had a relationship with the chief of police of Los Angeles, and he had a relationship with the sheriff, unbeknownst to me. And Chief Drew, they put me in a jail cell. I was no more than 15 years old. And they left me there for about an hour. An hour felt like a year to a kid like me. They came back and they said, "Listen, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, you'll just be another number here in the cell with us. And we'll welcome you. But you'll eat on our time, you'll sleep on our time, and you won't be able to do the things that you are destined to do, your purpose is driven." I said all of these things because I think we get caught up in color. And I think we also get caught up in when people have a profession that's other than ours. I think we also get caught up in people who do things a little differently than we may do them. And sometimes that makes uncomfortability and it causes conflict. During this hour and a half interview, I hope that the millions of viewers were able to see that we are all the same. We are all in the same team. We're all here together. And whether you're wearing an LA hat with some diamonds glistening, or you're wearing a badge with a gold badge glistening, at the end of the day, we're all God's children. We all have the same heart. We all bleed the same. We all feel the same. And at the end of the day, we're all gonna meet with the guy upstairs, the same. There's never been more person that's been more impactful to me than my coach, because he taught me the difference between doing right and wrong. He also taught me the difference between color. From that day on, I didn't see a white man as my coach. I saw a human being who cared about my well-being. I've known Chief Drew for a few years now in passing, and he has never, ever not smiled to me, give me a handshake, or even took a picture with me. And so today, this hour, this minute, this second, I want you guys, whether you're sitting at home or you're in your office or you're in your car just watching this interview, to make some noise for the one and only Chief Steve Drew. Woo! Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
We want to send prayers out to the victims who are still suffering from the officers that were killed in Virginia Beach. We also want to send prayers out to all our officers who have to deal day to day with the just the happenstances of and the trauma that they have to deal with each and every single day. I hope through this interview, Moses, that everyone learned that they got to deal with the same stuff, even more than we do. And I hope that through this interview and seeing this man, it should be a little bit more comfortable with officers, doctors, lawyers, and people who may just be laying the law. This has been 88,000. Good night. Good night.
Don't know where to waste my nights. You can come here, join a real low life. Hiding our heads on the pillows. Wonder what real friends are made of. Not gonna leave, been stuck for a while. Drinking from the get-go till I'm too slow. Hiding my head on the pillows. Wonder what your friends are made of. Don't be sorry for being honest. Sure you know I'm a fight, but I'ma let go. Lately my heart's been in the backseat, waiting for a while, for the wonderful life. Hurt me, don't care, I only fall free, aching all my life, for the wonderful times. Everything I do, everything I say, I don't really change, I'm just still the same. I lose control, I lose control. Every time I care, every time I swear, I don't want your praise, I don't need the air. I lose control, I lose control. It's a sport, riding a horse. You I adore. Don't